Medical arranged. David Ornstein confirms £54 million Arsenal signing. Arsenal secure Gyokeres deal as number 9 solution nears arrival. Gyokeres transfer agreed after final details resolved. Arsenal have reached a full agreement with Sporting CP for striker Viktor Gyokeres, with the Sweden international expected to complete his medical this weekend. As reported by David Ornstein in The Athletic, the Gunners will pay an initial €63.5 million £54.8 million plus a further €10 million in add-ons, ending a prolonged pursuit that dates back to early summer. Gyokeres, who will take the iconic number 14 shirt at Arsenal, was determined to join Mikel Arteta's side, reportedly ignoring late interest from other clubs and pushing for the move. According to the report, the Swede's agent also waived his commission to help the switch, underlining the forward's commitment to the deal. Centre-forward priority addressed after title near-sighted after another near-miss in the Premier League, finishing 10 points behind Liverpool and lacking firepower for much of the season. Arsenal have made a decisive move to fix their most pressing issue. With Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz both missing time through injury, the Gunners often lacked a focal point in attack. Gyokeres, who scored 54 goals in 52 appearances for Sporting last season, brings precisely that. His blend of physicality, movement and relentless output made him one of Europe's most in-demand forwards. The 27-year-old also helped Sporting secure back-to-back league titles and the Taça de Portugal. Sporting journey caps remarkable rise. Gyokeres' journey has not followed a conventional arc. After being allowed to leave Brighton for around £1 million in 2021, he found his feet at Coventry City before earning a £17 million move to Portugal. His rise from championship forward to elite European striker has been swift, but not without grit. He now signs a 5-year deal with Arsenal, stepping into the most demanding phase of his career. Squad overhaul continues under Berta. Gyokeres is the latest arrival in a busy window for new sporting director Andrea Berta. Arsenal have already added Zubimendi, Norgard, Arrizabalaga, Maduka Mosquera, aiming to sharpen depth across the pitch. For Arsenal fans, this is the moment they have been waiting for. Not just because a striker has finally arrived, but because it is this striker. Viktor Gyokeres is not just another forward signing, he is a statement. A declaration that the club understands the need to evolve and contend, not just compete. Gyokeres' numbers are absurd. Over 50 goals in a single season, regardless of league, signals elite-level efficiency. But beyond the stats, it is his style that fits the Arteta blueprint. He presses from the front, works the channels, creates as well and finishes. He is a modern number 9, and finally gives Arsenal the central presence they lacked when it mattered most. It matters too that he wanted this move. No games, no posturing, no auction. Just quiet determination. That is the kind of personality Arsenal fans will connect with, and his decision to wear the number 14 shirt will raise expectations further. There are, of course, pressures. The fee is significant, and the Premier League is an entirely different landscape. But Gyokeres feels built for it, and Arsenal's structure seems ready to support him. Benjamin Sesko price drop vindicates Arsenal transfer stance as Viktor Gyokeres' announcement nears. Arsenal have been vindicated in their move for Viktor Gyokeres despite price drop in Benjamin Sesko. The news that RB Leipzig have reportedly lowered their asking price for Arsenal's previous primary striker target, Benjamin Sesko, is sure to prompt some exasperated chuckles from the Gunners' supporters, and rightly so. Arsenal had engaged in lengthy talks prior to their pivot to Viktor Gyokeres with the German club, but there was no willingness to budge on their valuation. Despite a supposed gentleman's agreement between Sesko and Leipzig over a summer exit, a phrase that has seemingly become synonymous with this summer window, Arsenal still encountered considerable resistance during negotiations. Leipzig reportedly wanted a figure in the region of €90 million £78.5 million to complete the deal. After no breakthrough, Arsenal instead turned their attention to Gyokeres, who had already been rejecting offers and had been patient in the hope the Gunners would come in. This desire to sign for Mikel Arteta's side certainly is felt to have softened the Spaniard's attachment to his primary target in Sesko. Viktor Gyokeres' Arsenal shirt number revealed as timeline for transfer announcement clear. Arsenal next transfer already having massive Bukayo Saka impact, and he could explode this season. Arsenal engaged in negotiations that lasted around 3 weeks to conclude a deal for the Swede, despite tough operators on the Portuguese club's side. Eventually, Football London understands the club will pay €63.5 million £55 million with €10 million £8.7 million in add-ons. The irony is that according to Fabrizio Romano, the German side have reduced expectations to a guaranteed figure in the €70 million £61 million to €80 million £70 million range, with €5 million £4.4 million to €10 million £8.7 million in add-ons. At the top end of both ranges, this is still the fee that was being quoted at the start of the window. At the bottom end, it's around £65 million, which is around a couple of million more, inclusive of add-ons, that Arsenal are expected to pay for Gyokeres. Newcastle United are keen on the player, only if Alexander Isak now leaves. However, the chance of a club of the caliber and current competitive level of Arsenal coming in for Sesko is bleak for now. Ultimately, Leipzig needs a sale sooner rather than later, even with Chelsea in talks for Xavi Simons. Losing arguably their two most important players and failing to qualify for Europe has left them in a tough spot. Leipzig have been strong in the market in recent years, but a faster resolution to these players' futures sooner would have given them more time to replace them, with some potential targets having already been missed out on by the end of July. Arsenal's swift decision and subsequent 2-plus-week negotiation to land Gyokeres means their new striker could yet play at least 3 matches this preseason for the Gunners. Arsenal set to pay £55 million to sign Premier League forward. Arsenal's creative pursuit, why Ibaraki is the next step in Arteta's evolution. Arsenal chase vision and versatility. Arsenal are not merely bolstering their attack this summer, they are reshaping its identity. With Viktor Gyokeres all but confirmed, attention has now shifted to Crystal Palace's Ibaraki, a player who could redefine the creative axis of Mikel Arteta's system. Reports that Arsenal are willing to part with £55 million for Ease, but Palace remain unmoved, holding out for £68 million. This standoff may last well into the final weeks of the window. But the move has traction. Ease is open to joining Arsenal, the report states, with a 4-year deal ready and waiting. Ease's value is not just numerical. His 11 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League last season were often the punctuation marks on Palace's most incisive movements. He glides between lines, drifts across zones, and turns sterile possession into dangerous territory. A playmaker with purpose, Arteta's vision demands more than just runners and pressers. He wants orchestration, unpredictability and presence. Ease offers that in abundance. His ability to operate as a number 10 or off the flank gives Arsenal something they have lacked since Mesut Ozil's prime, a player who can slow the game down and still hurt you. Palace, however, know his worth. Having lifted the FA Cup and secured European football for the first time in their history, they are under no obligation to sell. Glasner sees Ease as central to Palace's evolution, not a commodity. The £68 million valuation is less a negotiation starting point, more a declaration of importance. Ease's apparent readiness to move changes the context. If he pushes gently, if the player's side begins nudging Arsenal to act decisively, it adds a layer of urgency. The Gunners have already moved with a degree of confidence, having closed in on Gyokeres. This is not scattergun spending, but structured strategy. Still, the reality remains that Palace are operating from a position of strength. Financially stable and buoyed by success, they can afford to resist. If Arsenal truly want Ease, they will have to show they mean it. Tactics, title ambitions and beyond. Arsenal's interest in Ease isn't simply about depth, it is about edge. A player like Ease, with Champions League ambitions and a profile that fits their tactical model, makes them harder to second-guess. Arteta's desire to challenge City and Liverpool requires not just quality but malleability. Ease brings both. The final weeks of the window may determine just how much Arsenal want to evolve. Gyokeres is the firepower, but Ease could be the fuse. Our view, EPL Index Analysis. For all the structure and discipline that Arteta has instilled, there remains a creative void in the middle third, especially in games where the opposition sits deep and spaces tighten. Ease is the sort of player who gets fans off their seats, but more importantly, he breaks lines, drags defenders out of shape and can score when it matters. The numbers back it up, but it's the how that excites most: the drop of the shoulder, the perfectly weighted through ball, the balance under pressure. £68 million is steep, but not reckless. Arsenal have already shown they are ready to invest in players with personality and productivity. With Gyokeres adding that central punch, Ease could become the new conduit between midfield and attack. If this window closes without Ease in red and white, it will feel like a missed step. With the Premier League more competitive than ever, Arsenal cannot afford to hesitate on a player who is both Premier League proven and emotionally ready to make the jump.